Haha! And we're live! Welcome back, everybody. This is Thomas, MakerThomas. You can also call me Thomas the Tinker Engine. I am a teacher here at MakerKids. For those of you who have joined me for previous weeks of streams, welcome back. For those of you who it's your first time, the three of you that are here so far, then I am going to show you some brand new stuff today, and I hope you're as excited as I am. We're gonna maybe give it a moment and see if we can get some other people in here. But I love to reward people who show up on time, so thank you everyone who has shown up already. Let me just make sure I've got the stream up on here so that I can tell that it's working. It looks to be. Alrighty. Yeah, so as I was saying, the first thing that I'm going to be doing today, guys, just to give people a plan, if you haven't already read the description, we're starting off by reminding you what MakerKids is all about. MakerKids is a company that's been around in Toronto for over 7.5 years at this point. I've been working with them for 4.5. And we have been developing really fun curriculum for kids that focuses on developing STEM education early on in life. So this is the idea that at the same time that kids are starting to learn to read and starting to learn their basic mathematics, they can also be focusing on something that is a little more embedded into regular school curriculum, which is logic and problem solving. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. But they can start to learn logic and programming skills and learn to start making things early on. Not only because this is a skill set that kids can learn earlier than we think, but also because it's fun. It's something where kids can learn to work on a project because they enjoy it. I know everyone went to school at some point and had a project where they were like, oh man, I don't remember half of the assignments I did in high school and elementary school, but I remember the projects. I remember making that diorama. I remember coming up with that PowerPoint presentation on Lord of the Rings. I made a very long PowerPoint presentation on Lord of the Rings, and I remember working hard on that and working hard on it because I liked what I was doing. So that's what we do, where we start to make kids into champions of creation, where they start to work on projects that they enjoy, like making a video game as a way to explore programming skills, making a website as a way to work on design skills, working on a robot to practice resilience and learning some fairly technical things and with a lot of help from instructors. Or, my other favorite part, learning Minecraft to like champion the social side of virtual interactions and helping them to learn how to be social and polite and friendly in a digital space. So today, I'm going to be focusing on the coding. Each week, for those of you who are kind of new to this idea and are new to coming into this stream, each week I'll be doing a different topic. So last week I did something else, but this week I am working on arcade video game design. Last week was robotics. Next week will be Minecraft. And if you are interested in any of the things you see me working on today I'm going to start with something beginner. So if you are brand new to all of this stuff, please stick around. The first half an hour of this live stream is going to be me showing you how you could start to build your very first arcade game with a program called Stencyl. I'm going to walk you through the downloading of the program. I'm going to walk you through installation. I'm going to walk you through the basics of it. If you find yourself not able to keep up, that's because I'm not interacting directly with you guys right now, obviously. There is, however, a way that you can send in requests to us. We actually have a fun little chat bot on the MakerKids website. So, for the first half hour, or the second half hour, where I will be working on a different project, one of my older projects, and doing a slightly more advanced stuff, for the first half hour, if you have any questions, you can go to MakerKids.com. Any web browser you have, Google Chrome or Firefox or whatever, you can get onto our website. And then once you're there, there is in the bottom right corner, little happy talk box. This opens up our intercom chat bot where you can ask us questions. You'll be able to send in something, maybe say that this is for the live stream, and I'll see that pop up. And then feel free, if you are with your parents' permission, to leave your parents' email or phone number with their permission, in case you want us to reach out and get you guys into a free trial class of our programs. But without further ado, as they call it, we're going to get into it. So, and again, let me just check. 5 people. Hey, 5 people. We're getting a lot of views on these videos of people later on, so I'm going to get right into it for those of you watching this a few weeks from now, or maybe next week, or at some other later time. Okay, so that's how you get onto our chatbot. That's how you say stuff. We've covered that. Let's get into Stencyl. So let's say you are wanting to get into this. The basic idea of what Stencyl is. Stencyl with a Y, as you can see here. It is a program that was developed to help people make arcade-style video games. I'm talking about, like, 2-dimensional platformer games or top-down games like the original Pokemon games, the original Legend of Zelda, or side-scroller games like Mario, Sonic, Megaman. And it's really, really powerful, actually, and very easy to learn to use. So for those of you who are already familiar with us using Scratch, which has a lot of cool stuff in it, and in our coding class, sorry, I've just got like, I think like my cat has had some cat hair go all over. Like, you could make games like this in Scratch, see? Fun little simple games like this. And this one only took me a few minutes to make, based off of a template that Graham, our curriculum designer, came up with. And see, building stuff like this, not too much code to go into this, right? This one's meant to be a fairly simple game. Stencyl kind of assumes a lot more things. Like, the example of these guys falling from the top to the bottom is something that you could almost call gravity. Fun stuff. Let me just respond to this. Someone has sent a message in chat. All right. Yeah, so what we're going to be doing right next is, since you've seen what Scratch is like, and for those of you who are already familiar with it, the difference between Scratch and Stencyl is that Stencyl is a program you actually have to download. So that's one of the main differences, and I'll be sort of comparing it a lot because I know Scratch is a fairly popular program for coding, and we've done a lot with it, and have developed curriculum for it for, like, well, yeah, the past 7 years. So quite a lot. To find Stencyl, you will want to get Google open on any search browser or web page or whatever, whether it's Safari, that, or that. And then you're going to want to type Stencyl, Stencyl. The spelling for it is in the description of this video. So, if you just search for it, look at that. The first result is Stencyl. It's the only thing that is really spelt this way, and it's written with a coding language called Hax, which is pretty useful. So, you can go to this link that says, download Stencyl. It'll take you here. And then, depending on your system, if you're on Mac, you'll get this, the DMG probably. If you're on Windows computer, you'll probably choose 64 or 32-bit. Most modern computers, I'm betting you'll be 64-bit, but maybe just check with your parents. It should work either way. And then Linux right here as well, with even a how-to guide for installing it. Now, I've already installed the link to save time today, and I literally uninstalled Stencyl from my computer in order to show you, so that I'm showing you right from the beginning. Okay? So, I'm also going to open up this thing right here. That's the crash course, because the crash course is going to be pretty useful. And it might already be downloaded. We'll look it up after. So, I have started the installation. The way I did that was I went into my downloads, since I downloaded it here. Okay, and there's the Stencyl installation, right? So, I'm going to double-click it to run it. And then it's going to ask, hey, are you sure you want this program to install on your computer? And yes, I'm pretty sure, because I downloaded it. So yeah, I will be opening that up. It'll say, hey, the Stencyl setup. Now, for those of you who have never installed a program before, it's pretty easy. You just click Next until it's done. Generally, you can check some things. You can just choose to have it be installed in program files under Stencyl here. But since I got 20 gigs available, that's fine. And I'm going to install it. So while this is installing, let me show you something. There is, on our MakerKids portal, an example game for this that I would love to show you. And this gives me a good opportunity to demonstrate to you what our MakerKids portal is. This is the browser application that we use to... So if you're on iPad, I just got a question from someone. If you're on iPad for this, you won't be able to actually use Stencyl. Stencyl doesn't have an iPad option. Most programs that you're going to find that are useful for really developing video games and serious video games, most of them are going to be on an actual computer. So if you have access to a computer, that's what you'll want to use to follow along with this today. But what I was going to show you here was, while this installs... Oh, it's almost done. We've got all of our different topics here, and when you join a class, you will actually receive your own login to MakerKids, and then you can choose your topics here: coding, Minecraft, robotics, all of this. I'm going to go into one of my topics, because normally this is where you would find your learning, but it's where I can find a whole bunch of other useful things. So I'm going to get one of our links from here, because I have a really useful one here that can demonstrate something cool about Stencyl. And this is also giving some of you time to actually load up and download or install Stencyl if you're following along on your own computer. There we go. Installation complete. I can click Next. And finish. I'll let it run Stencyl. Now, while that's loading up, this is a example website. Obviously, also, if any of these things pop up, read through them if you would like to. You can also, if you would like to trust us on this, their license agreement is pretty fair. It just basically summarizes that you're not going to infringe on any third-party claims or try to publish something that you make in Stencyl that has actual Sonic in it from a different existing property that people pay money for. Yeah, don't do that. Don't steal people's art. So yeah, we'll click I agree, and then allow access. If any firewall feature or anything asks you if you want to let it through, yes, you click allow. There we go. And now there's this, where I don't really need an account to access anything, so we won't worry about creating an account. You can always click remind me later and make one later. Boom. I'm in! Yay! And as you can see, in this, I have nothing. It has installed, it is ready, but I have nothing else loaded into it. No games, no projects. I can click here to create a new game, but first I want to show you a complete game. So, this is my Scratch game that I'll be working on later in the class. Oh no, don't do that to me. Also, let me just quickly check on my audio. You doing okay? Yeah, it's good. Alright, yeah. So look, this is the game I'll be working on later, but I also wanted to show you this game. On a separate website, or a separate page of this website, so a different web page, we have uploaded a completed Stencyl game that was developed by one of our instructors named Trevor. So shout out to Trevor if you're watching this later. If any of you get the chance to be taught by him, he's amazing. And the coolest thing about this game that he's been developing is that it's all based on student suggestions and requests. If a student was working on their own Stencyl project and was asking, "Hey, how do I make a jetpack, Trevor?" Trevor's like, "Okay, I'll show you how to make a jetpack and I'll put it in this game." Or "I want to make a boulder from Indiana Jones that I can shove off of objects and make it land on the enemies so I can get past them." And he's like, "Cool, we'll have to make the boulder heavy and apply friction to it so it can't be moved super easily. Yeah, let's build that." And then he did. Just to demonstrate what I'm talking about, let's show you a bit of what I mean. I'll even zoom in a bit. Ta-da! Welcome! This is a Stencyl game, sound effects and all. This is our main character named Noni, and we can make him run around and jump, pick up coins. There's a timer for the level. There's coin points that he has. There's power-ups over there, but there's also a limited timer, so I must keep going. And now I'm in level 2. Look at that. That right there is one easy difference to measure from Stencil to Scratch. Not only can I have objects like this that I can push and built-in physics, I can also have a larger screen that scrolls from one side to the other without having to do a whole bunch of what I would call parallax physics in Scratch. So it's much easier to figure this stuff out. I can, like, throw ninja stars. You're like, can you throw ninja stars? And my answer would be, sure you can. Sure you can. Okay. But yeah, also the cool thing about Stencyl is it is more powerful. Things like gravity are already built in. Things like the jumping physics are a package that you can download. And that way, when you are getting into game development, you can focus on just that. The game development side. It's like someone already has a game engine built for you, and you're focusing on making a fun game. This is why here at MakerKids, we do a lot of encouraging people. I found the secret level, yeah. This is why we do a lot of encouraging people to actually explore more of the other options. Oh, will I make it in time? Hopefully. It's why we encourage people to explore, by other options, I mean exploring Scratch and Stencil at the same time. Oh no, I'm not gonna make it! Oh my gosh, I made it! And now, we come to the hardest boss level that I have ever faced. I've played a decent number of video games, and this boss level is impossible, Trevor. And I love it. It's so difficult. Oh my gosh. See, those fireballs kill you instantly, as do the other guys that track you. And the boss makes one of those for each time that you hit him. So I'm not going to beat this time. If anyone wants to test this game out, we can send you a free link to this website if you come in for a free trial class. Again, doesn't cost you or your parents anything. We just want to, like, give you a chance to, like, be presented in this and, like, see what we do here. So I can definitely send you a link if you attend one of those, or ask whichever teacher you get. I've run a lot of the trial classes myself. So yeah, as you can see, very difficult, and I'm not going to spend, I want to, because I don't like to lose, but I'm not going to spend all of my time playing this. I want to build my own game. So here's how we start. This is Stencyl. Its layout is fairly simple, actually, and I'm going to go full screen with it to show you what I'm talking about. One of the first things that we can learn to do, and let me just check in on how many people. Hey, still the same 5. Welcome. There should be, when you first download Stencyl, an option down at the bottom that says, is this your first time? Run through our crash course. I'll be like, well, of course, that sounds fun. How about I start the crash course? And now this will actually give you a basic rundown of how to do everything and how to create everything. We also teach this in our curriculum, and we have our own version of this that, this is pretty solid. But we've made a version that's a lot easier for kids to follow along with, especially kids who are somewhat new to using computers. So if you want to go with that route, you can absolutely as well. I don't completely agree with that guy's comment down there that this is the worst. It's still a pretty good guide. So let me run you through the crash course of my own design. We click here to create a game. And it says, oh no, it's a blank game. That's one way to start things for sure, but I like to use this. This thing says get sample games / kits / right? So I really like to use, if they still have it in here. All right, I might actually search for this. It's usually in this area. So let's get the Stencyl Crash Course Kit. So I'm going to search up Stencyl Crash Course Kit. Oh, here we go. Haha, Crash Course Kit. No, don't block my plugin. Oh, Flash got blocked on this page, huh? All right. Boop, 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 boop. Crash Course. I think I actually have it installed on the portal, so let me just find it here. Boop, boop, boop. See, I wanted to show you guys how to install this yourself, but it looks like they've made the actual Crash Course kit a bit harder to find now. So let me see if I can't quickly find that for you. Stencyl, my first game. And here, I'll go into this, mentors, mentor resources. And I will get myself the normal Crash Course kit. Miscode, I believe right here. Yep, I'm going to use this. So I would suggest you get the Crash Course kit by accessing a thing called Stencyl Forge. And there, so right up at the top of your page, there is an option for that here. Stencyl Forge isn't going to be supported for super long, is something that I've heard, but that's why we kind of made our own kits for this. So if you join a MakerKids class, you'll get a kit that helps you get started much more easily. So let me just pull this up. I believe it is this one. Let me try. Boop, boop, boop. Yep, as I thought. I will try my username, which I think was this. Oh, did that work? Cool. All right, I remembered my username. That's tricky sometimes. All right, so now if I click create a new game, by the way, I'll walk you through that again. You go to Stencyl Forge if you want to get this kit, and I'm pretty sure this is the right one. And then, after you get it, you type in the search bar, after you get to Stencyl Forge, you type in the search bar up here with the little magnifying glass, you type Crash Course. And then it should be the one by Donnie11, which I'll just quickly check. Pretty sure it is. This looks good. Oh, this kit is only compatible with 3.4. We'll still give it a shot. I think it should still work. Let's give it a try. And I'll call this Thomas Test Game. Don't change the screen size yet. We can get into that later. And click Create. Excellent. Upgrade. Yes, if it asks you to upgrade the format of it to the most recent version, then that's perfect. Yeah, here we go. Look at this, right off the bat, it already creates me a scene. So in Stencyl, a scene is a level, okay? So if I'm working on something like this, then I have like a level already built like this. If I want to create another level or another scene, I can always click Create New. So, and then you can give it a name like Level 1. You can change the width of it. Do not change tile width or tile height. I'll explain why, but just trust me, don't change that yet. And then you can even change the background color if you'd like. You can choose one solid color and click on this little white rectangle to choose your color, or you can choose vertical gradient where you choose two colors at once, just like this. And then if I call it an actual name, can't be invalid. I can't have like special characters in it or anything, or space, or yeah, no like exclamation marks or slashes, just something like that. And then I click create. Great. So now, look, I've got two scenes. I've got this one called 1 and this one called main scene. This one has a star, which means it's the starting scene, okay? If I want to mark the other one as starting scene, there's a button down here called Mark as Starting Scene. And by the way, if you are worried about how to actually navigate around on this website and get to certain places, everything is under the dashboard. The dashboard is right here on the top left. It is a tab above all of your other projects where everything can be found. And then everything else will open up in other tabs next to it, going from left to right, just like you read. So, I'll stick with the dashboard for now. I'm going to start off with, we'll start off with level 1. And I'm going to mark level 1 as my starting scene. There we go. And I'm going to start editing it. So look at this. Here is all of my little empty place, and I've got all of these lovely things called tiles over on the right side. These are a bunch of pre-designed tiles which you could, and we encourage you to, you could actually design some of your own, or you could download more from their Stencyl Forge, at least for a bit. We focus a lot on kids designing their own resources, or importing ones from free users online. So there we go. Let me just start designing a bit of a level, and I'll make a little gap right here. I will click and drag or single click to place blocks. I can even go around and click and drag to select a bigger thing. And I could go like this, and then like this. And then, if I really wanted to get fancy, I could add some platforms up here as well. And with this, look at this, I'm just starting to make a very nice, pretty-looking level. It's not too big, but it's going to be worth it. So next up, after I've placed a few blocks, if this is, and a little reminder, for when you're like learning a new skill, if this is your first time and you are following along with Stencyl, and you're following along with me, don't worry too much about keeping up with this or making your level perfect right off the bat. I'm happy with this. If I want to redesign a little bit better later on, I can always do that. But right now, I want to keep moving through things. So if you take a break after you've placed just like even 4 separate little tiles, that'll be enough to test your first time building a game. Your first time tinkering with a program shouldn't be you shouldn't be using an idea where you're like, oh, this is the exact game I want to build, and I'm going to start building it as my first time in the program. That usually doesn't work out as well as you think. So if it's your first time using a software or a program, make your first project just a test project. It's throwaway. It's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be even good. It's meant to be about you learning the program, learning the system. And a lot of our first projects are that. They're not meant to be the very final thing that you make because you don't know a lot yet. You're going to. You're going to learn it really quickly, but right off the bat, you're going to build something simple, like I'm doing. So I've done that, and let's stop talking about it. The next thing I'm going to add is the fun part. The characters, also known as the actors. That's what they call them in Stencyl. In Scratch, they call them sprites, but here they call them actors, because they do stuff. And our main actor, just like in that example game I showed you, is this radioactive green marshmallow man named Noni. He's great. Trust me. We literally have a Noni little figurine hiding somewhere in the MakerKids makerspace at Bloor West. And it's always a little bit of a scavenger hunt to find him when you join in on a class. Fun little game we play. We can also add clowns, because clowns are scary. I think we can all agree on that. Maybe not, but no offense to any actual students of clowning. I highly respect your craft. I use some techniques myself in my teaching. So yeah, we've got some clowns here. We've got a Noni. And now if I tested this game by clicking the test scene button, let's look at what would happen. Boop. It's going to load. You're going to have to wait a bit, and this is a thing that we practice a lot in our classes. We practice patience. It's not about thinking like, with technology, there's so much waiting. That's not the thing you should be thinking. And it's easy to think that, and obviously, I understand why people think that. What you should be thinking, what would be a more constructive way to think, would be, this program is doing a lot of work for me in the background, and of course it takes some time for it to do that work. So when Stencyl is compiling your code and loading a bunch of stuff, it's readying all of this, and now look, my game has loaded. And pressing the keys is doing nothing because I have not coded my character to do anything. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to exit that little flash window, that's called the flash player, and I'm going to actually make this thing work with a bit of code. First things first, notice my character was floating in the air. Well, that's because we were missing one of the fundamental forces of reality, guys. We were missing gravity. Thankfully, unlike Scratch, where I have to code that customly, like I did here, with like them falling down slowly by changing y by -1, not too hard. In this, I can just go into physics, and I can say, hey, gravity. Oh, look, there's a gravity horizontal, which would pull me left or right, whichever I select. But I don't want to be pulling myself that either of those directions. But I do have gravity vertical, which is pulling me down. That's what gravity does. It pulls us down. So I'm going to try about 50. 50 feels the most like Earth average in my experience with this game. So there we go. I've got gravity. If I tested this again, still haven't told my character how to move. But that also is super easy, because as I said, Stencyl, and especially versions of Stencyl that use this crash course kit I downloaded, have a lot pre-built for you, which is good. So if I want to do that, just like anything, I'm going to go back to dashboard. Dashboard is what we say in class to remind you to go to the dashboard, because we go there so often. And then I'm going to go into one of the subsections called actor types. Actor types allow us to explore what the characters can do. So I'm going to double click on this guy, Noni, to open him up. I could have also clicked on him if I wanted to and clicked edit if you're having any trouble double clicking. Not that it's hard to do, but if you want to, there's an edit button down here after you select them. We will see that Noni has animations. Look at this. So he has a different appearance for when he's facing to the right or facing to the left, or when he's jumping to the right or jumping to the left. And also he has an animation for walking, which is him just going, or it's for, in this case, it's just his legs moving back and forth because he only has legs, no arms. We can also look at his events where we can do custom coding with blocks, which I might get into a little bit today. And we have physics and all this other settings for him. And his collision box, of course. A lot of this we'll explain later, but for today I wanted to get you to the basics. So, for the basics, I'm going to use his behaviors. Behavior is how they behave. It's what they do. So, I'm going to choose a behavior for this guy by clicking here, or by clicking the button in the bottom left that says Add Behavior. And this will allow me to add in things like walking. There we go. Walking's built into this game already. How about I add that? Boop. Walking's there. And now I should probably set it up. If you look here, it has something called attributes. These are the different settings for this behavior. So for example, I could choose different keys to move him right or left. I'm going to use, for the right key, I'm going to use the right arrow key. That's what that is. Right is the right arrow key. And for left, left is the left arrow key. I don't need to worry about his animations for now, but you could set those up if you want by choosing, oh, idle right is idle right. And you have to default, right? Next up, I'm going to add jumping. Perfect. Jumping, really easy. Jump key as an attribute. I want to set it as the up arrow. Nice and easy. Jump force, 40. Sounds good to me. Jump sound. Ooh, there's a jump sound effect. I might even choose his jump right animation. Why not? Let's just do a quick jump right. Choose animation, jump left. There we go. Next up, idle left. Let's just quickly set these up. You know what? Because it will look better. Walk right. Walk left. There we go. And lastly, I'm going to add one other behavior. I'm going to also add the die in pit and reload. It's the classic Mario behavior where if you fall off the edge of the level, the scene is going to reload. In fact, let me show you what this one looks like. To look into the code a little bit, don't show this again if it asks you that. That would teach you a few basics on how to use this, but let me just explain this bit of code to you. When updating, that basically means when the game is running. Look, it has a flag. A red flag, though, not a green flag. Basically the same thing, though. When the game is running is the description of when updating. If the Y on screen of self is greater than the screen height. Translation, if your character falls off the edge at the bottom. And if the scene is not transitioning, if you're not midway through loading into another level, then that means you've fallen off the bottom of the screen while nothing else is going on. The scene is going to reload and fade out for 1 second and then fade back in. Pretty simple, right? That just is exactly what I remember Mario doing in the game when Mario fell off. When the scene reloads, your character resets back to their original position. So this is going to work, I think. I've got my first level. I've added in the walking physics. I've added the gravity. We're good to go. So I'm going to click Test Scene. Boop, boop, boop. Right here. And I'll wait. Oh, while I'm waiting, I will play waiting music. Let's see if I get this right this time. We're back. So, we've got our character loaded in now. We've got everything that we need Moment of truth, I'm going to press the arrow keys. He moves! Excellent, I knew he would. And yeah, look, he can jump around. I've added sound effects. He's doing flips. Oh, he can climb a little bit. Yay! Now you'll notice some of the physics are slightly strange, but look, he's jumping around, he's flipping around. If you don't like the flipping, I can show you how to turn that function off later, but I like the flipping myself. He's super bouncy and super cool and fun, and if I fall off, as described, he restarts over where he started. See? Wah! Yay! And this is working really well, just like that. In less than 30 minutes, because we started with some explanation of the program, in about 20 minutes, I downloaded, installed, and made my first level of a fully functional arcade platformer video game. And you can too. With help, maybe with a little bit of help, or maybe through watching this video back and pausing at certain points if you fall behind at all. You can definitely follow along with this. This is our gift to you. So that is what I wanted to show you today. And I've shown you a more advanced game as well with Stencyl. So now I wanted to move back to our regularly scheduled program and what I promised you before. I could do a lot more development into Stencyl, and I think I will next time we come back to coding for our live streams. But I've already got another project that I've been continuing to develop, and I know it's still pretty popular. And honestly, part of this live stream is a fun excuse for me to actually get to work on some code myself. You know? Because so often I don't get enough time to do that. I'm very focused on helping you with your code, and I love doing that. But I also miss, working on some of my own projects. So, let's go back to Scratch. This is the regularly scheduled Scratch part of the curriculum for those of you who are still with us. Thank you, same 5 viewers who have been with me so far. And thank you to those of you who will be watching this later on as well. If you are just checking in again at this part of the video, if you're here at the half-hour point because you were like, oh, I know how to use Stencyl. Thomas or Trevor or Yvonne or Ariel, one of our MakerKids teachers, already taught me how to use that. I came here for the Scratch part. Then welcome back. We are going to keep going with my Makers in Space game, and I'm going to come up with a plan for what else I should add. Last time I worked on this, I added in the boss fight, and I added in him firing a laser at us, a really fun laser, and I even started on a second power-up that would appear at some point in the game, and I even added horizontal movement. And I also need to blow my nose. Awkward times. Let me just grab a hanky. There we go. Okay. So, what I was focusing on was the idea of the boss's movement. That's 2 things that I was going to do, and also fixing the power-up. See? Like I often suggest for those of you who use Scratch, right-clicking in a blank space and adding a comment. Super useful. Give yourself notes. Give yourself a plan. In a MakerKids class, you also have your notebooks that you can write in. We have these things called Inventor Notebooks. But if you're doing this fully virtual and you need a way to, write down what you plan to do next with your game, right-click, add comment. Make little notes for yourself, and then, maybe change them and update them as you finish something. So, like this, horizontal movement, it's done. I might fix it later on, part of it. The better laser image. I like my current lasers. The new power-ups, they look good. Almost. So let's add what I talked about. And defeat boss condition, yeah, I might add a little bit more to that as well. So I think we're ready. Let's start off with the power-up. So I added in, last week, or last time I did this, I added in a new power-up that looks like this. A shield power-up, and this little shield sprite was supposed to show up on the spaceship, and as you'll see, the spaceship also has this, the shield, power-up appearance for it. Now I need to actually have that be triggered. So, let's take a look at this code for my power-up. So when I receive boss gone is what I've told it to do. And when does it receive boss gone? When the boss dies. Yeah, if boss health is less than 1, then broadcast boss gone, and then hide them, and then set boss on screen to 0. Good. Yep, that's fine. When this sprite clicked, change boss health by -1. Sure, I'm going to get rid of this now, because I don't need this in the game anymore. You don't need to be able to click him to damage him. Let's see. That's all fine. Else, set boss on screen. If points are greater than 15. Yeah, so he shouldn't be receiving the boss gone because his health at the beginning is 10. Yeah, that's fine. Even if the variable is hidden, this should be okay. I'm not sure then why when it loads sometimes, that sound effect wants to play. Let me just check. When is boss laser? If boss on screen equals 1, then play that. Yeah. I mean, the sound effect, I will be honest, it shouldn't be playing when you first load. Not at all. Let's try this. If boss on screen equals 1, let me check that variable. Start the game. Okay. It's not doing it this time. I think this has more to do with how Stencyl loads a game the first time. If anyone has any suggestions on how I can make this load properly without doing that thing... Oh, there we go. Let's see. Okay. It's not doing it. Maybe it doesn't like hiding the variable? Let's see. If I continue to hide the variable, and then I press the start... Alright, it's working properly. I don't know why it was glitched before. Cool. Alright, let's keep going with the boss. This is fine. This is working. This is good. If boss on screen equals 1, then show variable boss health. And then... If... Oh, you know what I could do? Yeah. Okay. If boss on screen equals 1, then if boss health ever equals less than 1, then it'll broadcast boss be gone, hide, and then set boss on screen to 0. Perfect. That might actually work better. Let's test it out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So what I just did there was called a nested if statement. That is an if statement inside an if statement. I always like to say, in reference to a very old program, a TV show that some of you may have watched, yo, I heard you like if statements, so we put an if statement inside your if statement. And that's the best way that I can refer to that. Oh, man. So here we go. I'm going to get above 15 points. Boss shows up. Let's shoot him before anything happens. Ah! Oh, no. Don't lose too many lives. Oh, boy. Ah. Oh. Got some floaty movement. There we go! And that worked. Okay, cool. So that works. The laser disappeared. That thing shows up. Then this is actually working. When it receives the boss gone event, or the broadcast as it's called, it's causing all of this code to start. Perfect. So it says, when I receive boss gone, we are switching the power-up's costume to the shield power-up. I don't need to forever switch it. So let's go like this. When I receive boss gone, the first thing it will do is switch to shield power-up. Then it's going to set ghost effect to 0. Why not? Yeah, why not do this? I just realized. Put these as just a single event. The reason I'm putting these outside of the forever loop is I only really need them to happen once. I need it to first switch the costume to shield power-up, then set its ghost effect to 100 so it's invisible, and then it's going to show. Then, if the power-up is visible, when it appears, if the power-up is not visible, oh yeah, if power-up visible equals 0, no, that doesn't make sense. If power-up visible, if points are ever greater than 20, this is why this hasn't been showing up. I see. If points are greater than 10, let's do that. Although this might make it too easy to defeat the boss. Before I just had the power-up not showing up soon enough. If points is greater than 10, and if power up visible equals 0, wait every so often. Set ghost effect to 100. Yep, and then show. Go to a random spot, repeat, subtract from its ghost effect a bunch of times, and then set power up visible to 1. Let's do it this way. I want it to... Bit my tongue. I want it to show up a bit quicker. There we go. Okay. And then setting power up visible to 1. That's good. And then when it received powered up, change size by -10, hide, and then set power up visible to 0. Yep, that's all working. When does it receive, when does it send the actual message powered up? Oh, right, when it finishes. I haven't made this in the best way. I'm still happy with it. It still works. And this is something that you'll encounter with your code quite a lot of times. You'll make something where you're like, this sort of works, but it could work better. There we go. It played the sound effect again right at the beginning. I don't know why. Let's test this again. I'm going to keep firing. I'm going to keep trying to get points. I'm going to get above 10 points. Let's do this. Haha. Ow. I'm still getting stuck at that spot on the screen. I might fix that later. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Generally with this, I've added in a limiter that makes you stop if you start to try and go past the middle point. So you don't keep going too much. And there we go. Power-up's working. Okay, I picked up the power-up. Set power up visible to 0. Okay. It should after a moment. Powering down. Good. Okay. So, here's the issue. The power-up from defeating the boss isn't automatically showing up because I've tied it showing up, like the main thing showing up, I've tied it to this. So this is how the original power-up acts. It only shows up when my points are greater than 10 and only every so often randomly, and then it waits until the power-up is no longer visible. So, yeah, here's what I'm going to have to do then. Since this isn't working properly... I don't know what causes that to show up. It has something to do with the firing my laser not hiding properly. Start sound. It should only show up when boss laser shows up. Well, I might do something else about that later. That's fine. Yeah, let's focus on this. As you can see, I'm a little distracted. If I want it to show up other times, then I only want it to do so after you defeat a boss. Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. All of this stuff I've made, it's going to go away. It's not going to be fully deleted. I'm just going to completely change how this works, which is also basically the same thing. I want all of this code to, as I said, only happen if my game is running the proper way. It's going to switch to costume. Its default costume will be Space Station Sprite 2. It's going to drop a random power-up, I think is how I'm going to make it work. So, let's set Ghost Effect to 100%. Oh. And Ghost Effect, again, remember, will make this thing invisible and then fade in. Set Ghost Effect to 100. Alright, and then... I'm going to have all of this code, as I said, happen only when you defeat a boss. And then eventually, later on, I'll add another boss. So it's going to switch costume to... pick random. Pick random. Costume number. Switch costume to costume number. And can I choose number there? No. Okay, costume number. Oh, I've got an idea. Will this work? Yeah, you know what? I'll just go switch costume to next costume. Yeah, when I receive boss gone. This will be an easy way to kind of just like have it never do the same one twice in a row. When I receive boss gone, do the next costume. So it'll either be the first one or the second one, and then at the beginning, we're going to have it choose a random costume, one of the two, and then each power-up will give a different effect. Haha! Cool. So switch costume to shield power-up, switch costume to... Let me just see if this works. I wonder if this actually does. Can I actually just, like, tell it to, like, switch costume to something like this, and tell it to show? Let's see. Okay. Maybe not. Alright, hard to test that. Sure. We'll just have it choose a new costume. And then it's going to set the ghost effect to 100 as I asked it to, and then show. Good. Oh, I got a just question coming in. Hey, yeah, so, any students can participate. Good question coming in there, from the US, actually. Yes, with our online classes right now, any students can participate from anywhere in the world. We just had people calling in from across the ocean just yesterday, actually. So you can attend as long as your timing lines up with our Eastern Standard Time classes. We do all of our... So this is Eastern Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. start for some classes in after school. We also do weekend classes from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m., either for like 1 hour blocks or 2 hour blocks, depending on what you sign up for or how old your child is. And you can participate from anywhere, as stated. So good question there. Also, yeah, let's keep going with some of this. Boop, 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 boop. That person may or may not have been watching the live stream, I realized, but it was a good question nonetheless. So, when I receive boss gone, I'm having to go to the next costume, and then if the power-up is not visible at the moment, which should be set at the beginning, then it's going to go to Graham the Insatiable. Oh, also, I'm going to put this in another if statement. If... Another if statement inside another if statement. Forever if costume equals, yeah. If costume equals 2. If costume number I can do. That's an easy way. If costume number equals 2, because the shield power-up is the second costume, then it's going to do that. And basically, I would make an entire... section for this. Some of this code will be able to be duplicated. So it's going to go to Graham the Insatiable, and then it's going to do all of its things for showing up, which should be the same every other time. Let's see here. That's good. It's going to wait until... No, that's fine. It'll wait 10 seconds, then it'll wait 10 seconds after. This is good. Okay, so this is going to be a default behavior for it. So this is going to be making a new block. I'm going to make one called Powerup Show Up. Okay. Good. I don't need to change any other settings for it. So I'm going to define it first. Define blocks automatically. When you make a block, a define block already appears. So this is what Powerup Show Up does. So if costume number equals 2, and then if Powerup is not visible, then it's going to go to Graham the Insatiable and then do the Powerup Show Up behavior. That's the one difference. The only difference here, as I said, will be that it goes to that specific sprite wherever he is, so that it spawns on him. And I'm going to make it smaller, because I'm realizing these things start really, really big. Let's make this like 50% the size. And that will be better. Good. However, it is shrinking quite a lot. So let's... Am I changing its size at all with this? Oh, I'm not. I'm just having it fade into view. Yeah, let's do this as well. Where's the... I'll keep this code for now, actually. This might still be useful. Because I'm telling it to show up immediately. Right? And I'll do it for the other costume as well. Haha. If costume number equals 1... If Powerup visible equals 0, then... Actually, don't necessarily need this to be in a forever loop, I'm realizing. I can just do it like this. So whenever I see the boss gone thing, it'll choose the next costume in the list, and then if it's 2, which is the shield power-up, it'll do that one. Let's put them in order. If it is costume 1, which is the normal one that boosts your fire rate, it's going to broadcast costume number equals 1, It's going to go to not Graham the Insatiable. It's going to go to a random spot, actually. Now can actually just go to a random position and then do the power-up show-up behavior. Yeah. Cool. Let's try this out. I think this should work. And we're close to the end of this. So let's just see. I've never tested it out this way, but I think I might have just come up with a better solution for this with that. So let's see. I'm going to get to a certain point in the code where power-up show-up should happen right after I defeat the boss. So I got to get to 15 points again. And then when I defeat him, it should broadcast the boss gone thing, which should get him to show up. Okay. Let's defeat this boss. There we go. Okay, so the laser's not showing up at the right time. And this thing is just forever going to a random position. So I needed to stop broadcasting that. So it's constantly receiving the boss gone thing. So is that... yes, this is why you don't put a broadcast inside a forever loop. You put it at the end of something, and then you tell it to wait until. Yep. So that's what I need. Since that was causing this broadcast to like trigger again, going, boss gone, boss gone, boss gone, boss gone. All that other code was being triggered over and over again. So I'm going to tell it to wait until, inside of this, wait until, if boss health is less than 1, broadcast boss gone, hide, set boss on screen, wait until boss on screen equals, I think I might want to just add something to this. After that, I'm going to have it wait until... What other decisions? So this is where I haven't fully built some part of this. Maybe I could have it wait until... If boss on screen equals 1. Then show variable boss health. If boss health gets to less than 1, then we want to broadcast the boss 1. Hide him, and then set boss on screen to 0. So then it should show hide the variable boss health. And then we're having it wait until, after all of that, wait until boss on screen equals 1. Yeah, that should work. This might be where we're discovering Thomas's logical processing limits in his head. We'll see. This is getting to the point in this game design where there are decisions I made early on where I'm like, I could have done that slightly better, but this will still work. So if boss on screen equals 1, good. It's going to do all that. It's setting it back to 0, else it's hiding variable, and then it's waiting until boss on screen equals 1. Nice. Yep, let's try that. Stop doing that sound effect. Cool. And here we go. That's why we have to double-click it. Otherwise, the Kamehameha shows up. And again, legitimately, if anyone comes up with a fix for why that Kamehameha thing is happening too early, let me know in the comments. I think it has something to do with how Scratch batches the start of your game, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's see here. Shooting him, missing horribly, and then, oh, we're so close to running out of time. I want to do this. Okay, here we go. Boss's health. He showed up fine. Let's defeat him. No, it's still doing it. Oh. Well, this just went super glitchy. That's weird. Alrighty. Oh, but then look, when he's gone, there's the power-up. Oh, come on. Part of me still wants to just keep working on this, but I know I have to come up with a solution soon. If boss's health... That's fine. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. I'm gonna add something else onto this, which is gonna be a slightly different little like trigger for my code, and then I do have to resolve some of this right now. Oh man, this is a thing with focusing on Stencyl early on with this. I need more time, man. So we got through making a basic Stencyl game, and we got partway through me trying to solve one problem in this, but I didn't come up with an exact solution, and you're starting to see, even though, and listen, even though I didn't come up with a solution, if you think of one, this is legitimately a place where, if you want to send in an idea, or you want to join into a class, if you showed up to a trial class with me and were like, hey Thomas, I came up with a solution for your problem, I'd be like, you're the best. If you give me a solution to this problem, I want to like get this approved first, but I bet I could get you a $25 discount off of a program. If you come up with a fun solution for this game, and for how these power-ups are showing up, it's something that which is tricky, I know. It's something I've designed completely myself, but you could certainly give it a try, and I would be really impressed. So, when I receive boss gone, let's do it like this, yeah. When I receive, powered off. Ooh, no. Yeah. Well, I'm out of time for today, so here's what I'm going to resolve things with, guys. Thank you for everyone who stuck around today. My same viewers, I think the whole time around. I didn't see anyone in the chat coming up with an idea, but hopefully you got some cool stuff out of this and some neat ideas on how to get started making your own things like this. And hopefully some of you end up trying out Stencyl as well. We are encouraging its use for some of our intermediate level classes in coding, so that you can sign on, get onto your MakerKids portal, and walk through our actual guides that we have available for it, which cover all three of these topics and walk you through all of Stencyl, from beginner to intermediate, even up to eventually some fairly advanced projects. So please let us know if you would like to do this or come in for a trial class. Also, as a reminder, for those of you who watched today, there is a discount code. If you've already used this once, I'm sorry, you can only use it once, but if you haven't used it before, there's a discount code for anyone who watches our live stream, which is, quite simply, Livestream. So feel free to use that one when you register for a program, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Happy making. Bye!